Hello everyone, Jonny Skywatcher here, and welcome to another episode of Jonny Skywatcher Live, the show where the live stream where I like to talk about movies, TV news, and anything else that perks, is that the word I'm looking for? Anything else that sparks my interest. So today is Friday, and I do not have a lot to talk about. I'm still getting back in the word. Cannot think of a word. I'm still trying to get back in the groove of things, of doing this. So it's been a little rough, to be honest. But I do have a couple topics lined up today. I want to talk about She-Hulk, episode 7, which premiered yesterday on Disney Plus. We'll talk a little bit about what is opening this weekend and finish off with a little bit news about Community. So let's start off the show by so I don't know why I show that. Go to the next thing. Okay. I got it. There we go. There we go. Okay, we got it. Let's see. I'm gonna go from. Okay, there we go. So let's talk about She-Hulk episode 7. So after the wedding episode, we've now got the therapy episode, I guess you could call it, almost. And I'll be honest, it's not that I didn't like this episode. It's just I still feel like it could be better, and it doesn't really fit into the show that they described this as being, because this is not the superhero lawyer show. It just isn't. You know, they don't spend any time on cases. I was thinking earlier with this type of show, and I think I said this in the earlier episode, but I'll reiterate it, is that with this type of show, the way that the kind of show that they're copying works is you have each week a new legal case that the main character has to face, and then a lot of times you'll have another second case, which is your B story going on, and that's how each episode works. And it seems like they liked not so much the concept of, like, when they said like Ally McBeal and that kind of stuff. They didn't like so much the concept of the episodic structure or like the legal cases. It's just like the idea of the main character being a woman, and that's pretty much all they carried over. Because I let you compare this kind of show to a show like Ally McBeal. That's all it really has. It's the fact that she's a lawyer and she's a woman. And I didn't dislike this episode. The characters they introduced were interesting, although I feel like we're not going to get anything from them, because like a lot of stuff, it just feels like this isn't going anywhere. And I know I have seen some theories about this episode about this episode in particular, that there might be something more going on. I'm going to be a little more on the pessimistic side and guess that isn't the case, that they are not going to deliver on that. But that's just me. And the thing I'm talking about is like the idea that maybe these people at Emil Blonsky's retreat aren't just helping Jen, and that there really is something more going on, or especially with the whole Emil Blonsky's what's it called, device, the it's not a shock collar, it's I can't think of it, but you know what I'm talking about. The thing, the court ordered, whatever. I can't think of the word. But that device short circuiting, maybe a little convenient. Maybe it's part of a further plot. I just feel like all those ideas are interesting and therefore are probably not what the writers are going for at all with this show. And that's just one thing that like all these Disney Plus shows have taught me, to just be, when you think they're maybe setting something up and maybe going in an interesting direction, or maybe this is all just subterfuge. No, it's the most obvious thing is usually the case of what's actually happening. If it seems like this didn't make any impact and didn't matter at all, that's usually what is happening with these Disney Plus shows. That's it. So with this episode, we did have like the concept of a personal growth, a personal journey for the character of Jennifer Walters, and I kind of felt like it felt unearned, because I feel like we haven't really seen anything from this character that much. I mean, she had, I'm trying to think, she had one case where her first, okay, so you basically, so far in the show, we had her first case where she had to defend Emil Blonsky in his parole hearing, and then a second case where she helped, I'm blanking on his name, it's not Shang-Chi, it's Wong, where a second case where she helped Wong, and then a third case where she had to defend herself. Well, she didn't defend herself. She got one of the other lawyers to defend her, and the basically the copyright suit. And I think that's been pretty much it. I'm thinking, right? Because we're right. Episode 2, episode 3 was when Wong came back. Episode 4. I'm probably missing an episode, but it's not important. So yeah, I feel like not a lot has actually happened in this episode. So this whole moment of Jennifer having this sort of cathartic moment felt unearned, and especially the idea of that, oh, she has to be She-Hulk all the time is interesting, and that's not how she actually feels. And there's some interesting ideas there. I just, at the end of the day, I feel like it's unearned, and it's not what the show was really going. That's not what has been portrayed in the show enough. We've only seen like a tiny bit, and just overall, all these episodes feel short, so short. Why does Disney Plus keep making short episodes? Honestly, I feel like there is some sort of mandate at Disney Plus, at Disney, to make Disney Plus episodes around 30 minutes, because that's the way it feels. Like there's never over. I don't think there has been a single episode that's been over 45 minutes of a Disney Plus show. When you take into account that like almost 10 minutes, well, not quite 10 minutes, but at least like a good 6 to 10 minutes of the episode are just credits and previously on, and the Marvel Studios, or the big Star Wars intro they have at the beginning of each episode. If you take out all those stuff, I feel like there hasn't been a single Disney Plus episode that's been over 45 minutes. I might be wrong, but that's the way it feels, because each of these shows, I mean, this one, it was like even one of the shorter ones. I think even with I think I timed it, it was like 26 minutes at the very end, and then you got to take into account it was shorter than that. Mine is like the Marvel Studios intro and the previously on. So I'm telling you, it's killing me that all these shows are just so short, and I don't like it. I mean, look at Netflix with Stranger Things. huge long episodes that felt to me, I love those episodes being that long. It was a great format, and you felt like you were getting a full episode. With this, I feel like I'm getting half an episode, and that they cut out the rest. And this, just like last week, where I complained that it was a B and C story without an A story, this felt like a B story, no C story, and no A story. And that it was okay. It's amusing to watch, but at the same time, it feels like they did not. This show. What I'll say is, like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. You know, this show, I feel like could have been a lot better. Especially just thinking about, like, the whole idea of a superhero law show to begin with, and not just a superhero law show. The fact that it's in the MCU, there are all sorts of interesting ideas that you could do with that. That they don't seem, the writers of this show do not seem interested at all. I mean, you have, imagine all the legal scenarios that could have just come up regarding the snap. You know, that's a whole area that you could have been explored in this show. I don't think they've even mentioned the snap in this show. And the Sokovia Accords, I don't think it's been mentioned once. That's a whole area that you could explore in this show. That would be perfect. Not once. And we're almost done with this show. There's only 2 more episodes, I think. And we still have to get Daredevil, which, now that we're this far in the show and we haven't gotten Daredevil, I'll say they should not have showed Daredevil in the trailer. If he was not in the first 4 episodes or first half of the show, they should not have shown Daredevil in the trailer. I know it got people excited, but like, they just shouldn't have, because week after week it's been people speculating, when is Daredevil going to show up? And we know, I mean, we knew for a while that he's only going to be in 1 episode, which is disappointing. And then on top of that, he's going to be either the second to last episode, or more likely the last episode. I don't even know how that's going to work. Maybe he'll be in both episodes. Maybe I'm wrong about the only being in 1 episode. It just feels like it's going to be rushed. One thing I will say about this show is that I don't feel like they're having the problem of some shows where it's getting to the second to the last episode and wondering how are they going to wrap it up, because there is no real story to wrap up at this point. There's the kind of the plot thread of Jennifer's blood being stolen. And that's a thing, I guess. But why do they want the blood? Who knows? It maybe has something to do with the leader. Probably not. But, you know, Hulk blood, green, is special in some way. It's just like, it's not that... There's no overall thread guiding the episodes. Which is weird to say, because I've complained with some of these shows that they've been too focused on an overall story. And it feels like this show does have one. It's just so very weak. And then the episodic plots don't hold up, because it feels like the writers, I don't know. They got into this idea of making it, of what this show is. And that is not what they pitched to the people. I mean, that's not what they pitched to everyone with the marketing of this show, especially when they were talking about it before they even had trailers. Because this was definitely pitched to people as a superhero lawyer show, and that is not what it is. There's very little superheroing, and there's hardly any lawyering. And there's a lot of side characters we haven't even gotten at all. Like, hardly, I don't think anybody else appeared in this episode of, like, the side characters in Jennifer's life. Which, why? is it a budget thing? Is it like such a focus on keeping the episodes so short? But like that seems like a huge mistake to me. That like episode was already pretty short. Why don't we have like 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes of a B story with one of the other characters? It's such wasted potential. It's wasted potential in my opinion, and I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about She-Hulk episode 7, which might sound like I hated it, but I didn't hate it. It's just it's such like in the middle ground of like I can watch it and enjoy it, and then at the same time after it's done say, what are they doing? What are they thinking? Why are they doing this? And I think like Ms. Marvel, this is probably not going to be one that I revisit very much. But hopefully the episode with Daredevil is good. I'm not I remain cautiously optimistic. I think from the tone of the show, like obviously Daredevil's portrayal will be different than he was in the Netflix show, or even different from how he was showed in No Way Home. He'll be, he'll be different. It'll be interesting to see how they adapt the character for this kind of show. We'll see if the writers are up to the task. We'll see. Anyway, moving on. Let's go on to this next topic, and I just realized I forgot to record, but that's okay. Let's talk about what's opening this weekend. So opening this, can I just do this? Nope, I gotta click back on it. Okay. So we have there are three new wide releases in the US this weekend, which are Bros, The Good House, and Smile. So I'm not really familiar with a lot of these, other than like the advertising I've seen for Bros and Smile. Smile is a horror movie, I know. Bros is a gay rom-com, you could say, and A Good House, I have no idea what that's about. I read the description earlier and I completely blanked on it. But it's starring Sigourney Weaver and Kevin Kline. And yeah, so it doesn't look like this weekend's gonna be a huge box office weekend. In general, we don't really have that many let's see, I'm trying to remember all my shortcuts. We don't have that many big box office weekends for the rest of the year, I think. I mean, I was reading on Variety about Black Adam, Avatar 2, and Black Panther 2 are basically your big three movies for the rest of the year. So hopefully those do okay, because there's really not much else going on. And I definitely expect Avatar to do well. I'd be surprised if it completely flops. I don't think there's a good chance of it will. I think like even if it doesn't do as well in the US, it's going to do well internationally, just from the results of this last weekend of the Avatar re-release. I think it's foolish not to look at that and think and not take that into account. People are still obviously interested in Avatar, and if little else just to see what they did with the sequel, they're going to come out and watch it. And I'll probably go see it in theaters too, just to see what they did. Now, how it turns out, how much money it makes, how interested people are, will have an effect on, future sequels. But I think as far as just Avatar 2, it's going to do well. It's not going to do as well, I think, as the first one, but it should do well. I think there's a pretty good chance it makes over $1 billion. It's not for sure, but I think there's a pretty good chance. Black Panther 2 is another kind of up in the air question of like, how are people going to react to a sequel where we've lost the star, the main character, T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman? How are people going to react to that? And how are they going to react to the way this movie deals with that? Because we still don't really know how the movie deals with it. We've only gotten one trailer. It's still a little ways off. So hopefully we should get a second trailer soon, I would think. We're getting into October and it comes out in November, right? So we're getting closer. I don't know if they'll tell us in the second trailer of how they're dealing with it, but hopefully we get a little bit more idea of like what the main thrust of the story is. Though we did get quite a bit in that first teaser, of like what is happening in the movie. Obviously there's this conflict with Namor and they're not from Atlantans in the MCU. There's some other word that is hard to pronounce. So that'll be interesting to see. But what I'm more interested to see is how they deal with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, and then how they deal with that, and with the character of T'Challa probably being killed off. We don't know. And let's see what else. Also coming out. I'm like so slow right now. Also coming out is this huge list of different things and limited release. The one thing I did notice is, let me see, the greatest beer run ever, which I think is also coming out on Apple Plus, but it is in limited release in some theaters with Zac Efron. I have not heard very good buzz on it. The trailer looked decent, but apparently a lot of people aren't really loving it. And actually, let me look up what people are saying on Rotten Tomatoes about it, now that I think of it as I'm doing the stream. This is sort of a stream of thought. That's not the way you phrase it, right? Stream of consciousness. Oh, there it is. Yeah, right now it's sitting at a 39%, which is not the greatest ever. What are people saying? Okay, that's not what I wanted. So yeah, it's not getting that great of reviews. Which, can I show this? See. If I go to this. Okay, so here. Let me see, where's my webcam? Flip. I don't know why this needs to be difficult when I want to do a simple thing. Oh well. Okay, so I'm looking the wrong direction on the screen, but it's okay. So 39%. Where's is it showing you more details? "32 reviews, fresh, 50 reviews, rotten." The 4.9 out of 10 was the average rating. Eh. So yes, that's the other thing that's coming out into wide release. So I'm not hugely looking forward to either of those. And let me go back. Getting used to doing OBS again, which I would love to have a 2-screen layout at my apartment, but I don't have the desk big enough for 2 screens. Plus, I don't have the right equipment for it. But that's the one thing that's really hampering me right now is I'm at work. I'm used to dealing with at least 2 screens, and here it's like 1 screen plus my laptop screen, which is not sitting in front of my desktop screen because it will block the view. It's a whole thing. So okay, so let's move on to our final story, which is Community is apparently finally getting the movies from the 6 seasons in a movie that was long promised long ago. So if we go to this is a quote from Variety. "Pop pop, the champagne. Maybe it's not the darkest timeline after all. As 6 seasons and a movie is finally becoming a reality. Peacock has ordered a movie based on the Dan Harmon comedy Community, bringing back original stars Joel McHale, Danny Pudi, Alison Brie, Gillian Jacobs, Jim Rash, and Ken Jeong to check in on what the gang from Greendale has been up to since the show ended in 2015. And what's interesting is there's 2 specific cast members that are not mentioned in that. And that's totally blanking on their names. I just read it a couple minutes ago, but yeah. Donald Glover and Yvette Nicole Brown. And obviously the bigger name of those 2 would be Donald Glover, which I don't know if you actually need him to do the movie. You know, I think there are some people who feel like if you don't bring him back, then it's not worth doing the movie. But Community was a very different show by season 6, and I don't know. It's definitely a gamble of doing a movie like this so many years afterwards, especially with a lot of people didn't even see the 6th season of Community because it was on, I think, Yahoo of all places. And now, of course, now it's on whatever streaming service has all the seasons of Community. It might be Hulu or it might be Netflix. I'm not sure, but they whoever has it has all 6 seasons now, so you can watch all of it. But yeah, not a lot of people watched the 6th season of Community because it was on a streaming service that no one heard of, and I think it was like one of the only things that really appeared on that streaming service before it died. And so yeah, it wasn't watched a lot, and its quality, well, I would say the 6th season of Community wasn't bad. In fact, I enjoyed it. I would say that none of the episodes matched the quality of the earlier seasons. And some of that had to do with the writing. Some of it was just the you lose something when you lose so many of the original cast, and you're kind of left with what starts feeling like a show that's being hollowed out bit by bit, and it can be sometimes hard to replace the energy of that with new cast members, and I think they did bring in some great new cast members, but at the same time it felt like they were trying to grow the show too much with it, especially with the character played by Joel McHale becoming, not so much just a student, but then a teacher, and then having it go from being about a study group to the Save Greendale Committee, to, I think in season 6 it was still the Save Greendale Committee. I might be wrong. Or I think it was a Student Teacher Alliance or something like that. It's been a while since I saw the show. And yeah, it's just a very different energy, a very different feeling to the show, and I don't think it was necessarily for everyone. Plus the fact that nobody saw it because it was on Yahoo. I don't know who thought that was gonna take off. It did not. And but in general, I want to say I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I think it sounded like it's going to be on Peacock, which I have a free version of, so, and it would probably be behind the paid version, I'm assuming. So maybe I'd have to get it for a month just to watch that. But they just announced it, so it's probably still a ways off, at least a year, if not more. And I think we'll be cautiously optimistic at this point. Maybe it'll be okay. Sometimes it's hard for comedies to come back, especially after so long, and especially a movie from a comedy. How many times has that been done well? But hope springs eternal. We shall have to just wait and see. And with that, I think that brings today's show to a close. So thank you so much for watching. If you're watching whether you're watching here or on the main channel, my current schedule is going to be streaming Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. To do a live stream either at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. depending on the day and how it works. Maybe I'll try to get a better schedule, but honestly it just depends on my work schedule, because sometimes I have to work late, and I don't know why I say sometimes I have to work late. If you're watching on the main channel, what I'm trying to do is split up the segments and then just post them as individual videos. We'll try to see how that works out. Maybe I can get a little bit more views. I know that it's going to be slow at the beginning because it's been so long since I posted at all. So, it's little by little. And yes, in conclusion, thank you for watching. Do I have to say it? The like, comment, subscribe thing, do the thing. If you want to support the channel, you can, like it, comment, subscribe, or whatever. YouTube spiel. Anyway, thanks so much. I will be back Monday with maybe talking about the box office, maybe not. I still haven't decided if that's going to be a regular segment. If you have an opinion on that, whether or not it should be, just let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye.